Okay, so good evening, guys. So welcome back. So we're going to continue with our Jenkins session. So today is Jenkins day 2 session. So guys, the recording has started. So it is Jenkins day 2 session, and today the date is 1st of October, and the timing is 9 p.m. IST. Okay. Guys, in our yesterday session, right, that is in a day 1 session, like we had just understood about how exactly the continuous integration works, right? And we also understood about something known as a Big Bang integration, right? Usually in a very early 2000 or early 20s, right? Like basically we were following some kind of a Big Bang integration where all kind of integration of all kind of different models of the project, it used to happen after complete development activity. So once all the models were developed by various different teams, right, then what happened, right, like you used to face a lot of issues during that time, during the integration time. So and fixing all those issues was quite difficult actually, right? So and you need to always come up with some kind of a workaround to give some kind of a solution for all those integration issues. Hence that is what the thing which was being earlier followed by many of the projects. So slowly what happened, right, like a lot of people came with their own theory and with their own design and everything. So they mentioned that let us start doing integration at the very beginning itself. So during the development activity itself, let us start it. So that's how it triggered. And now you see that actually, like whenever you start working on new project, right, all the developers, they'll start working integrating all the things, whatever they designed or whatever they developed, right, on the day 1 onwards, actually. So that's the best way of making sure that actually you will not face any kind of integration issues in the upcoming days, right? You will not be able to face all such issues. That's the reason we will start doing it, and that's what Grady, Bruch, and many other people, they propose a lot of proposal for all those continuous integration, right? They had proposed many things. So this is what like quite we had discussed yesterday, and like we also saw that to resolve all these integration issues, right? Continuous integration issue, we have many tools are available, right? Like Jenkins is there, Bamboo is there, GitLab is there, Travis CI, Circle CI is there. There's so many tools are there actually. Now, basically, what happened, right? Is these tools, right? They again they are segregated to no based on the time, right? They are segregated to different generations actually. If you see, quite long, right? For example, Jenkins was it came into the market like in 2006, I think, if I'm not wrong. Right after that, what happened? Right, Bamboo had come into the 2008. Right, this were kind of a first generation tool actually. Right, and the second generation of tool is something like where you have Circle CI, Travis CI, Circle CI. These were the second generation of the tools which came into the market actually. I mean, something like in 2012, 2014, like that. Even like in 2014, this GitLab had come, right? And then in the later stage, in the third generation, like you saw some tools like GitHub Actions, Azure DevOps, and many other tools like Harness tools, right? These tools came in the third generation. Now in the fourth generation, there are many other tools are there, like Harness tool is there. One more new tool which has come up now is a Buddy tool. So these are all the latest generation tools which are being used by the organization. But still, you could see that actually, even though GitLab came in 2014, but you could see that the usage of that GitLab tool, right? People started using recently, right? Many of the organizations, they adopted this GitLab lab as a CI/CD engine tool, right? So now this is what we had discussed in our yesterday session. So what we are going to do today, we will be learning today about, or we'll be understanding about what are the different ways of installing the Jenkins actually, right? Installation of Jenkins. But before that, let me try to reiterate some other things on the continuous integration. Just a quick wrap up of whatever we learned in the last session, right? And then we'll go with the discussion. See, usually what happened, right? Whenever any project has been developed, right? Basically, what the developer they do, right? They try to develop the source code for it, right? They try to develop the code for it. So they will choose any of the programming language. for example, if they want to develop the e-commerce project, they'll choose a Java application or Java language to develop it. So what happened, right? Usually the developers, what they do, right? They try to develop the code, and what the developer will do that, basically the developer will push the code into your source code versioning, right? So consider that these are the developers. Okay, the net is very slow. Oh, why it is taking so much time? Hmm. Oh, okay. So consider these are the developers, right? Right, these are the developers actually. So what the developer will do, the developer will start writing a code for the application, and finally what they do, right? They will going to push the code into some source code or source code versioning, right? Say for example, we recently learned about the Git, right? So Git is one of the source code versioning tools. So what the developer will do, that they will try to push the code into a Git actually, right? They'll try to push the code into the Git. So this is nothing but your Git, right? So here what happened, right? In the Git, you maintain your remote repository, and within that remote repository, all the developers will try to push the code, right? And once the code is pushed, later what you do, that you have to take that code and you have to build, or you have to create a package out of it, right? Say for example, you are developing your code is written in Java application, right? Java application, when you're trying to build or you're trying to create a package, you will be getting a different what I can say, you can get a different forms or different forms of the executable. Say for example, you can get a jar out of your Java application. You can compile and you can get a jar, or you can build up a war file, or you can build an ER file, right? Or else what you can do, that you can build all the package and you can create a zip out of it, and you can give that zip so that you can install that zip, right? So it could be in any format actually, right? It could be any form. Same thing what is happening is that actually, like when it comes to .NET, so basically what happened, that you will create if a developer is developing an application by using a .NET no, by using .NET, so they can actually they can get when you build out the .NET application, you can come with a .exe or .dll, any kind of a form actually, right? Similarly with the Java, similarly with the Python, similarly with the Node.js, right? And so many of the languages, what happened, right? You can get an executable in one format or in a multiple format, right? Right. So, and you need some kind of a runtime environment to run that application, right? For example, your Java, it needs its own runtime application, as a Java runtime application, JRE we say. Similarly, Node.js, it needs its own runtime. Similarly, .NET, it needs its own .NET framework runtime. So all this application, it has, or it needs its own runtime to run or to execute that application, right? Say for example, you have a Chrome, right? You have a Chrome browser, right? This Chrome browser basically it is written in C++. Now when the application is built is written in C++, so what they do, that they will compile the code and they will try to create an exe file for it, where what happened, right? When you try to download the Chrome exe, you will try to do a double click and you have to install it actually, right? So for the C or for the C++, you will get a different format. Like once you build the application, you get different format. Maybe it could be an exe in terms of your Windows. In terms of, suppose you are compiling everything for the Linux operating system, maybe you might come up with something like a ELF format, to say executable and linking format. So every different operating system has a different executable format. It supports a different executable formats. So right now what happened, right? We are considering that the application which has been written by this developer is in a Java. It's a Java based application. So what they do, right? Basically, you need to build out the Java applications. So to build a Java application, you need to have a Java runtime environment, or you should install the Java. So if you install a Java, you internally get a Java interpreter, Java compiler, and everything, right? So you need to apply some kind of a build and packaging form. So what happens, right? As soon as you push the code into the Git, later what happened, right? You need to use some kind of a build or packaging, build and package. It means that you need to basically, what you have to do, that you have to build the code, and you have to build a package out of it, right? That's how we do, right? So here what happened, if it is a Java application, then what happened, that you have a build tool by name Maven. Earlier we used to use Ant, now we are using Maven build tool. So we use a Maven build tool to build applications, so that we can get what are the format user desires. Suppose he needs a var as an output, or he needs an ER, or he needs a jar, right? After building or after building and packaging, he can get it, right? And what happened, right? Once you build and package out of it, basically whatever you get the output, we call that as an artifactory. So what we call that as an artifactory. So once you build a package, what happened, right? You're going to get an output of that build and package is nothing but your artifactory. So guys, once you get a build out of it, so that is about artifactory. So what you'll do later, right? You're going to take that code and you're going to run a unit test on it, actually. So you're going to run a unit test out of it. So you have to run a unit test as well as integration test. So what is it? You have to run a unit test. Yesterday we saw, right? What happened, man? Oh, sorry, I think unit test and integration test. So whatever the output you got, that is artifactory, what you do, that you will take that artifactory and you're going to execute some unit test as well as integration test. Now, if in case if the unit test or the integration get failed, right? What you do, that you'll get back to the developer saying that, okay, what are the code which you have written? It is not proper. It is not in a proper form. You need to you need to do some kind of a rework on that, and you need to give a report saying that, okay, under this unit test case or under the integration test, it has failed, right? So suppose assume that if this has passed, right? Basically what happened, right? If it fails, so what happened, right? You know that if this fails, so what happened, if this fails, you are going to return back to the developer saying that you need to do some kind of a rework again, right? You have to do a rework. If it passed, actually, what you're going to do, that you're going to further do the steps. What are the other further steps you're going to do, guys? You're going to do a static code analysis. Right? Static code analysis means you need to check the quality of the code, whether the code is good, whether the code is ugly, whether the code is bad, whatever the static code analysis did, right? Based on that, you will check, you're doing a code quality check of your application, right? It has to meet some standards. If it is a if it meets standards, then what you say that, okay, this code looks good, actually. Then what happened further, you can do many other operations, like for example, you can perform some kind of a security scans if you need it. Still you can do that, something like a security scans, right? So perform security scans, right? Perform some security scans, right? So till here, whatever you're doing, right? So this is nothing but your continuous integration, right? Continuous integration, right? So once this stage pass, right, guys? Once this stage pass, it means that once any kind of a security vulnerability checks or the scan checks passes, right? Finally, what happened, right? You can, from here onwards, what you can do, that you can apply your continuous delivery, right? So it means that you can apply. It means that you can still further do a continuous delivery or the continuous deployment, which, right? continuous deployment or delivery. Right? This is what we do actually, right? So we are not getting into the continuous deployment now. We will do it later actually. So what you're going to do that? So whatever the code is there, whatever the code, right? You might be doing some all this unit test, static code analysis, everything through some branches, so through some feature branch. So what you will do that you are going to merge that feature branch to the main branch. Once the merge will happen, what happened, right? Again, what happened? You are going to again do a build and package from that main branch, right? Again, so it undergoes all this continuous integration part, and finally what is happening that you are going to apply a deployment actually, right? Continuous integration and continuous. It means that whatever the end environment you have, say for example you are having a dev environment or test environment or prod or a stage environment, what you do, you are going to take that code and you are going to deploy that code into your end target environment actually. So that we call it as a continuous deployment. Right? So we have not gone to that stage. We have to understand, okay, this is what we call as a continuous integration. Is it fine, guys? So let me write a note of certain note on this. So what we're learning now, we are learning about the CI/CD engine part. Okay. So the idea of CI is to give not continuous, is to give feedback to the developer about its recent changes. Right. Right. So what are the steps you follow actually to do that actually? So what are the steps you follow? The step is that actually that. So guys, now I want to ask a question. When exactly all the steps will get executed? When the build and package, unit test, integration test, static code analysis, when this process or when this step get executed, whenever the developer commits the code. Right? Whenever the developer commits the code into the Git repository or into the remote repository, then only all this process will get executed. Right? So when this happens, right, the step, right, whenever the developer is, or whenever the developer submits the code to the Git, right, either through the push operation or else there is something known as a pull request. So I have not yet discussed about the pull request in the Git actually. We will be when I continue with my Git, right, another 2-3 sessions are left, right? At that time I will tell about this pull request. So whenever you do a push or the pull request, at that time what exactly happens, you know that actually that build the code, and then what you do that you are going to package the code, execute the automated test. So what exactly it means that you are executing the unit tests and integration test. And finally, what you do that you are going to run the static code analysis. Right? So at any step, if there is a failure, okay, developer is supposed to rework, and his work is rejected. Means his current work or code, or you can say, is rejected. Right? Right? So to perform this, we need a software which can call the steps mentioned above. So this software is called as CI/CD engine, right? And CI/CD, so Jenkins is one of the tool, right? So we are learning all about the Jenkins, right? So we have to learn about the Jenkins. So Jenkins is a CI/CD engine or the tool which does all those operations. So build the code, package the code, execute the automated. It's like something like, as I said yesterday, steroids, right? It's a steroids, right? Cron on steroids, right? So whenever you need to execute any job, right, you will just write some set of steps, or you're going to write and you're going to give to the Jenkins. So Jenkins will, as it is, execute that steps, or that whatever the code you write. So basically, we write something like a we write a project, and we provide some kind of a steps inside a project. And what the Jenkins will do, Jenkins will, as it is, will execute it actually. So it's something like yesterday I gave a right. So whenever the user want to execute some job, right, he need to set up a cron job, right? Or else he has to create a scheduler. Same thing, your Jenkins will act like a scheduler, or it acts like a cron job, right? So guys, as part of this, what we have to understand, what we have to learn, that we have to understand about how Jenkins works and all. So we will be learning about how Jenkins works in some time now, how Jenkins works, right? In some time, or else let us understand now itself how Jenkins works basically. So what we are going to do that actually, like basically what we'll be doing, that as part of the installation of Jenkins, we will be following, or we will be doing a single node installation. It means that I will be choosing some boxes. Like for example, in my case, I will be using my AWS account, and then in that, what happened, I'm going to create one server. So, right, one server. So what should be the type, we will be seeing very soon now. So what is the minimal hardware requirement is required for you to install Jenkins, that we are going to see now, because we are going to get all the details from our official website, that is from the jenkins.io. So we have the jenkins.io, right? HTTPS. This is the official website, right, where you will get all kind of a details, right? So if you go to that website, so jenkins.io. So, right, you can go to the downloads. If you click on the downloads, you could see that, guys, actually you have two different types of version. One is nothing but the stable, which is nothing but LTS, long-term support, right? So it is given every 12 weeks. It means that every 12 weeks, what they do, right, they'll try to release a new version of the Jenkins, and then you can go and you can download it actually, right? So this is not but the LTS actually, right? And they are given some details about it. I mean, we need to really go through all these things. But whereas there is something like a weekly release actually. So whenever you get any kind of a fix or bug, right, they will release by weekly. They're going to release. So I recommend not to go with this. It is better to always go with the latest LTS, or nothing but the stable version of your Jenkins, right? So to do that, what happened, right? You need to download the Jenkins. So there are various ways are there to download a Jenkins and to install it. You can take a hardware or any server machine where you can have either Windows or Linux, and you can go and you can download directly. You can download a WAR file, and you can run a WAR file onto the Linux or onto the Windows machine. But this is not, I mean, usually companies or people doesn't go with this. It means they're directly downloading a WAR file, and I know, and trying to run the Jenkins from that WAR file. They don't do that. Instead of that, what they do, right, they have to download the package and they have to go and install it actually. So that's how the people or the company do that actually, right? So now, so they're given all the steps for all different, you can download this direct jenkins.war itself, right, from from various different distribution. You can go to the Windows. So there they have given how to download this war file and you can run it, right? So that's all they have given for this, right? But I'm not following that. So what I will do basically, that I will go and I will try to install the Jenkins, right? And you need to follow the installation of the Jenkins from the official website only. So now you could see that if you want to install it, right, by your own, like in your any of your hardware machine, you have to just follow this step, like hardware and software requirements. So what exactly says that? He says that it needs minimum 256 of MB RAM and 1 GB of drive. That is what he says that, but these are very minimal requirement. But because Jenkins has a lot of features, and as and when you keep like adding on a lot of plugins, right? So what happened, right? Your Jenkins, it requires more and more memory, more and more disk space is also required. So in that case, what happened? This minimal hardware requirement, what are they saying, right? It will not get suffice for you, right? So what they said, right, recommended way is that actually you at least go with a 4 GB of RAM memory and 50 GB of hard disk. This is what they say. So in an organization, when they go with installing standalone Jenkins, right, they will go beyond this actually. So this is also a very less, because like when your Jenkins server is used by multiple different teams, right? Having this configuration also is very less actually. So you will see that in many of the organization, they'll be using a 32 GB or 60 GB, 64 GB of RAM memory, and some 5 or 10 TB of disk they use it actually, because your Jenkins servers are used by multiple different teams, and you need to maintain all kind of a projects, execution logs, everything, all details you have to manage in the same single server. Then in that case, what happens? You need a very high configuration. But still, what he says, okay, this is what it is a recommended way. So for us, what we are going to do that, guys, we will go to our AWS account, and what we do that we can select the server version as a T2.micro. So T2.micro will come with a 1 GB of uh, 1 GB of what is it? What's RAM memory, and one virtual core CPU, right? This is what we come across with the T2.micro. You can install your Jenkins or T2.micro, but again, the thing is that actually it will be dead slow, right? You will not be able to see that kind of a speed whenever you are working on Jenkins actually. So what I would rather suggest you that not to go with the T2.micro if you are trying to do some little practice, right? By not executing many jobs, and then in that case you can go with the T2.micro. So what you can do that, the better, if you want to learn in a very faster way, or you should not face any issue, better I would suggest that you go with the T2.medium. So T2.medium, what it provides you the 2 GB of RAM, right, and two virtual core CPU with 8 GB of hard disk HDD. So this much is sufficient for our session. So whatever we'll be learning in our Jenkins upcoming Jenkins session, I will be doing everything with the T2.medium itself actually. Right, but again what happened, again I need to manage everything in a many more faster way. I want to run multiple different projects parallelly. So then in that case, guys, I will go with the T2.large actually. So T2.large and T2.medium, right, these are not free actually. You need to pay, right, for this servers. You need to pay. Only T2.micro is the one which comes under the free tier, right, which you can use it. But apart from this, medium, T2.medium and T2.large will be not like that expensive, but okay. I mean, you can manage it. Say, for example, if you are using T.medium, per hour it will be only charge 4 rupees. That's all. Same thing, if you're using T.large, per hour you have to pay only 8 rupees. It is less than less than what you pay for the tea, right? If you go outside, if you pay 10 rupees, you'll get half tea, right? So if you are using T.large and if you are working for like uh, 4 hours, like you will be hardly paying some 32 rupees or maximum 36 rupees, like that. That much only you will be paying. So that is not a big thing. We can pay that much amount and we can learn, right? Because so in our class, what I'll be doing, guys, I will be initially going with the T2.medium, right? This is what I'll start. But when I go with the Jenkins with the distributed systems, right? At the time I will switch to the T2.large, right? Same thing what happened if you guys are using Azure. I think better you go with B2S actually. B2S, series you can go. B1S is also there, but B1S is very slow. So don't go the B2S. You can go and you can use that series in your Azure to create a virtual machine and you can install your Jenkins over there. Right now, if you go over here in the documentation, what he says that before you start installing Jenkins, he says that you have to have a Java actually. You need to have a Java. So if you go with this, what he says that actually that the current version, which is this is 2.643 or anything, but or this is a weekly release. Suppose if you're going with the 2.426, this is not but the latest or the available version of Jenkins, right? You can either go with the Java 11, right, version, or Java 17 or Java 21. So these are the three versions he's saying actually. So what I will do as per our session, I'm going to go with installing Java 17. Okay. So what we'll do that, guys, I'm going to have a server. So I will go with the T.medium as a server. So let me go with the server image. Right. I'll go with some server image. Yeah. So I'll go with the server image. Here what happened, right? I am going to install the Java what is it? I'm going to install the Java 17. Right. So before installing Java 17, what happened, right? You need an operating system. So I will go with the Ubuntu, or you can go with the Ubuntu, or you can go with the CentOS, anything. So basically what happened, right? I will go with the Ubuntu. So I will have a Ubuntu, and then like I will have a Ubuntu on this. On top of this Ubuntu, what I will do that, guys, I'm going to install a Java 17. So this is nothing but the Java 17 version. You can go with the Java 11 also, but okay, Java 11 is too old, and Java 8 is not at all supported now. So the all the recent or the latest version of Jenkins is supported from Java 11 onwards. So I will not go with Java 11. I will go with the Java 17 or Java 21. Preferably, I will go with the Java 17. And once you install the Java 17, and on top of that, what I will do that, guys, I'm going to install Jenkins. This is what it is. So for your Java, what is there? For your Java, you need, sorry, for your Jenkins, you need a Java to be installed, right? You need a Java to be installed, right? So here, like this is how you will be having it actually. So the same thing I'll be using. So here, what this we call a single node Jenkins. It means that in a single node, you'll be installing a Jenkins actually. Later, what happened, right? After some point of time, we will go with the multi-cloud, multi-node, multiple node Jenkins installation will go later, not now, right? Okay, guys. So this is what we'll be following it now as part for installation, and right, and we'll be using the Java 17. So Java 17 is required, right? And I'll be using the Ubuntu Linux. So if you go back to the documentation, so this is fine. So what else he says that actually like, okay, you have to install the OpenJDK, and if you come down in the same page, right here, he has given the step to the install the Jenkins actually, right? It is a long-term support, he's saying, right? All the steps, right? It works for the Ubuntu, right? You'll get the steps and you can go and install it. So you'll go with this as a first approach, installing a single node installation. And later what happened, right? Okay, I think I have to put it here. Huh? Yeah, how Jenkins works, we'll see later. But right now I'm going with the installation of Jenkins. Right now, once the Jenkins installed, guys, once the Jenkins installed, your Jenkins will always be using, or it will always be working on the port number 8080. So this is the port on which your Jenkins will be running, right? So after the installation of the Jenkins, after installing the Jenkins, what happened, right? There is a user, a default user by name Jenkins will be created in your server. So what is it? A default user, a system user will be used actually. I'm not getting that proper image actually. I'm looking for some. Okay, some user will be created like this, right? So this is a user will be created actually. So means created means it will be created in your operating system, and this is nothing but the user is nothing but your. This is the user is nothing but it is a Jenkins user. So just keep in mind that there is some user by name Jenkins user will get created with the same name post installing the your Jenkins. So once you install the Jenkins, finally what happened in your operating system, a user by name Jenkins will get created, right? So why we need that user and what is the use of that user, we will discuss after some time, not now, right? But we will see it once we install the Linux and everything. We will see that this user by default will get created in your system actually. Is it clear, guys? Still here? Right? So what we are doing here, we are installing a single node Jenkins, single node, and then what is happening is that in Jenkins, single node on single node, on Ubuntu Linux. We'll prefer to go with the Ubuntu Linux. We can go with anything, guys. Tomorrow, if you're saying, Rajesh, I want to install on CentOS 7.8 or CentOS 8 or Amazon Linux, right? You can choose any flavor and you can install it actually. So I'll be going with the Ubuntu Linux actually, Ubuntu Linux machine. Okay, a user called as Jenkins will be created. Right. So why this is created and what is the use of it, we will discuss later after some point of time. Right. And this is one way. And the second way is that actually what I will do that I will be taking a machine in which Docker is installed. I will be creating a container where Jenkins will be running. It means that I will create a container, right? I will have a machine where the Docker will have, and in that Docker, what I will do that I'm going to create a container. So that container is nothing but your Jenkins container. I'm going to make a Jenkins. Uh, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to create an image of Jenkins. I'm going to make it up and running as a container itself. So with that also what happened, right? You will be able to log into your Jenkins and you can do all kind of operations. To mean that basically with the help of a Docker container, you can do that. So what I will do, I'll take one machine, I'll install the Docker, and on top of the Docker, I'm going to create one container and where I'll be running the Jenkins server actually. This is the second method. So I will be running as a where the Jenkins will be running as a container. Is it clear, guys? Is it fine? Any doubts so far?
No doubt, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, guys. So let me do one thing. Let me create two servers. So let me log into my AWS account. Let me close all these things. Do I need any kind of other things in documentations? No, I'll see it later. Okay. Download. I need these steps actually installing Jenkins. I need this step actually. I'll go to the Linux. I need the steps actually. Yeah, this step is required actually. Or else let me copy the steps. Or else let me copy it later. Okay. So what I will do, I will just log into my console. So let me take two servers. One is nothing but your T2.medium and other is T2.micro. So one I'll make it as the Jenkins server and then I'll make it as a other one I'll make it as a Docker server actually or the Docker host actually. So guys, I have logged into my Jenkins. So sorry, I've logged into my AWS console. So I will be I'll be in a Northern Virginia region and I will go to this EC2 service. So right now I don't have any server up and running here. So I don't have any servers here. So let me launch the instances. I'll go with the launch instances. I will just give a name as Jenkins server where I'll be installing Jenkins, standalone Jenkins on a single node. And I will choose the Ubuntu as my operating system image. So in the Ubuntu, let me go with the latest only 24.04. I can even go with the 22.04, but let me go with this latest version only, right? So I'll go with the latest version of 24.04. Come down here. Instead of going with the T2.micro, which is a free trial eligible, I will go with the T2.medium. So if you take the T2.medium, can you see it's a T2 family. It's a 2 virtual CPU, 4 GB of RAM memory, right? And you will get by default 8 GB. And he say that actually by default, what happened, right? You're going to get a cost of 0.46 USD per hour. So what is a 0. What is it? 0.04 theta dollar in INR. So you're going to get around almost equal to 4 rupees per hour. You're going to get 4 rupees. That's all. So if I work for 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to hardly get 12 rupees bill. That's all. Right? That much we can pay, right? Right. So what I will do, I'll go here and I will just choose the T.medium, come down. So here it says that you have to create a new key pair, or let us see if I have any key pair. I don't have any key pair. Let me create a new key pair. Key pair, and then like I'm going to create a second. Create a key pair. Okay, sorry, I have to give a key pair, and let me take a Jenkins as a key pair. Create a key pair. So it has downloaded, right? So let me have that key pair, and I'll do one thing. I will come over here. I'll go to the edit to the network settings, and then like I will choose a default uh, VPC subnet. I'll choose as a US-East-1A, right? And then in the security groups or not, but firewalls, I will select this as a firewall. So I have a default firewall. I'll go with that. Is there anything is required? So here it says that it's given by default 8 GB. That is sufficient as of now for me. So, and you are just creating only one instance, right? I'll just say launch it. So now what I will do that I will go to the view all instance. So it is getting launched. It comes up. Let me don't think. Let me create one more instance. Launch instance. So here I'll make it as something like a Docker host or Docker server, whatever. Docker server, because I have to install. I have to run Jenkins as a Docker container. So let me go with the Ubuntu itself, right? And like come down here. I will go the 24.04. Let me choose the T.micro only because I don't want any big instance type actually, and come down. So let me select the same Jenkins as a key and edit. Go over here in the subnet. Let me choose the US-East-1B, the second subnet, and come down. Select the existing security group. So I will go with whatever the existing default security group. Come down here and just say launch instance. So what I will do here, I think it's been downloaded into the download site. Let me go here. Let me copy this PEM file, cut this PEM. Let me go here and let me paste over here. So I have this PEM key here, Jenkins.pem. Let this server comes up, both of these servers. So one is already up and running, right? So guys, we have this two servers. One is a Jenkins server, this is a Docker server. So what I will do here, this is a Jenkins server where I'm going to install the Jenkins. So it is on a single standalone server, right? So where I will follow certain steps to do it. So as per our requirement, first is that actually you have a Ubuntu, you have a machine, you have a Ubuntu. And top of it, I have to install the Java 17. Right, once Java 17 is installed, right, that's a prerequisite for Jenkins. And finally, I will to run some steps to install the Jenkins, actually. Right? Right. So now what I will do that I will go to the server. So here what happened, guys, you have downloaded, you have created a key. So with the help of a Jenkins.pem, we can log in it. But as you know that since I'll be using a putty.exe or a putty.exe to log into the server, I need a Jenkins.ppk file. So to create that, you have to just launch the putty.gen.exe. And when you launch it, first you go with the key and parameter for saving keys, just change it to 2 version, ppk file version 2, right? And then say load all type, just give this file. Where is it? Jenkins.pem file, right? Then save as a private key. Yes. And then like just give the, instead of PEM, you have to just give PPK. That's all. Save this file. Right. So with the help of a putty.gen.exe, you created this PPK file. Because when I try to launch the putty.exe, I need this PPK file. That's the reason I have to create this PPK file. So your putty.exe, right, or the putty will, or a putty we say, it will not support the PEM. It always supports the .ppk file. Right. That's the reason with the help of the putty.gen.exe, I created this .ppk file. Right. So now let us see now, guys. So I think this server has come up. Yeah. Any doubts you have so far?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
No, sir.
Thank you. Yeah. Let me log into this. First, I will do the installation here and later I'll show the Docker. Right. So I'll just try to copy the public IP of this and then go over here and then like try to launch the putty.exe, paste it, and then like I think you have to do small changes here. You have seen this many times, right? And I'll just expand SSH, or I'll expand credential. I will go and I'll just try to select this Jenkins.ppk, right? And anything else is required? Nothing. That's all. Just say open. Accept, right? So because this is a Ubuntu server, I have to log in as a Ubuntu as a default user. right? So you have logged in as a Ubuntu user. So you could see that if I execute a command, who am I? You can see that actually you have logged in as a Ubuntu user, right? So Ubuntu is a default user through which you can log in actually, right? So now what happened, right? Let me run some command. So what I would do that I'm going to just say sudo hostname ctl. You know this. I'm just changing the host name, set hyphen host name. I will just change it to Jenkins hyphen server, right? And I'll just say bash, right? And now what happened, right? Like you can run a sudo apt update. This is the first command you run it actually. Now, since you have to install the Java 17 as per our diagram, we can go with Java 17 or Java 21. Let me go with the Java 17. So to install it, what you can do, guys, actually, you can go to the Google and just say installing Java 17, installing Java 17 on Ubuntu, right? If you just try to search for this, you're going to get a lot of articles. So you can go with something like a Java 17 on Ubuntu 22.04. We'll get a lot of articles actually. So, but you can go with this article, or else there is one more article is there by name DigitalOcean. So this is what I always prefer to go with this, right? So, or else you can even go with the TechMint also. They would have given a lot of steps actually. So how to do it actually? You can either install the Java JRE or OpenJDK. They say that you can install the OpenJDK, right? And you could see that they have given the step as sudo apt install OpenJDK hyphen 17 hyphen JDK. Yeah, this is what the step I need actually, right? So this is a fine. This is a good document actually, which you can refer to it. So I'll just give the link also. So if you want to install the Jenkins required, then no, refer here, right? Right. So what I will do, guys, or else instead what I will do that I am going to run one command here, sudo apt hyphen cache search for open JDK.
Such spelling is wrong.
Yeah, sorry. Right. Right. So you could see that it is showing you that OpenJDK 12 hyphen, sorry, where is it? OpenJDK 17 hyphen JDK. Right. Can you see OpenJDK 11 hyphen JDK? Open 17 hyphen JDK. You can do anything, right? Open JDK 8 hyphen JDK. Right. What I will do that I'm going to install the sudo apt install. What is it? OpenJDK hyphen 11 or hyphen 17 hyphen JDK hyphen Y. Is it fine? So you could see that it is installing the OpenJDK 17 version. So you're installing a Java. So guys, you will see sometime what happened, right? When you're trying to search for it, you are going to see that actually there's something like a OpenJDK is there, right? OpenJRE is there actually. You might get little confused. What is OpenJRE, OpenJDK? Like both are same, but the thing is that OpenJDK is an open source actually. It's a free version. But whereas an OpenJDK, what happened, right? Usually it is given by the Oracle actually. Okay, Java runtime environment. But what happened many times, what happened, right? You will not get a particular version what is required. You have to go with the licensing cost actually. You have to go with the licensing. You have to go with the licensing. It means that you need to purchase that
Java
OpenGR.
Devel is all there, huh?
Java Devel is also there. Development is there, but we will not installing a Java Developer, right? We are not a developer, right? So we need only OpenJDK or else OpenGRE. So most of the companies, there are many like versions of OpenGRE is there. Like for example, IPM OpenGRE is there, right? Oracle companies OpenGRE is there, right? But what happens usually whenever you want to get in a free version, right? Open Java free version you need, always you will go with the OpenJDK, not with the OpenGRE, right? Many versions are there. A lot of companies have come up with their own versions. Some are free, some are paid versions actually. So OpenJDK is always a free version. So we'll always go with the OpenJDK only. So once you've installed the OpenJDK, right, or nothing but Java, right? You can search, we can check with the while executing the Java hyphen version, right?
Sir, suppose there is already Java 11 installed and we are going to upgrade it and
Yeah.
we need to install Java 17. How to
Yeah.
set it actually to Java 17?
Yes, sir. I will show it, sir. I'll show it. Yeah, I'll show it. These are, you can have a 2 to 3 different versions of Java in the same machine actually.
Okay, okay.
You have to set the alternatives. We say set hyphen alternative. Whenever you want to use any Java, the particular version Java, you have to use some kind of a set alternative command is there actually. So what is that? We will see in some time. Not now. Maybe in 1 or 2 sessions we'll see that. Right. So now I have installed the Java, and you could see that Java 17.0.12 version is installed. So what are the commands we installed? We executed, guys. If execute history command, these are the 3 important commands which you executed, right? Right. So let me copy all these steps actually. Right. Of course, before that, you have to update the sudo apt update, right? That command already you have to update it. And this is what you have to follow the command. So before that, you know that we will be running the command was a sudo apt update. Right. Now, after you install the Java, now what you need, right? You need to install the Jenkins. So please execute or follow below steps. So what you're going to do, you are going to just go to the official documentation. And what you do that here, I will go to the official documentation. Here, I'll copy this whole instructions. I will just paste it over here. What it says actually here, if you come here. So he said, okay, just run this command. So sudo, I'll just copy this whole instruction like this, and I'll just paste it. Okay, this is the first instruction. Okay. After that, what is say that actually you have to just go here until copy up to here, right? And then run it. And he said sudo apt update. Okay, you will run this command. And finally, you will be running the sudo apt get install Jenkins. And I'll just say -y option. Okay. So you could see that actually when you're installing Jenkins, you could see that actually it is also creating something like a service Jenkins.service file. So it is creating a service file itself under user lib system D system. So it means that it is running as a daemon process, like running like a service. Now, so Jenkins he's been installed. Now, how we are going to verify whether Jenkins is up and running? So you have to just run sudo systemctl status and then say Jenkins.service file. So when you run this command, you could see that your Jenkins is running actually. Your Jenkins is running. Is it fine? So after that, what you're going to do that you're going to just do few steps. Sudo systemctl what is it? Enable Jenkins.service so that when if you try to reboot your Jenkins, right? Like, or if you're going to if your Jenkins server get restarted, automatically it has to come up. So how to do that? You have to enable it actually. Systemctl enable Jenkins.service. Right. So what are the steps you did it now? History. Just copy these 2 commands. Right. Just execute these commands. Clear, guys? Now, so once the Jenkins is up and running now, right? What we can do that we can go to our AWS account. We can copy this public IP, and you know that the Jenkins is running on to the port number 8080, right? So what you can do that you can just say HTTP and give the public IP and give port number 8080 like this and enter. Okay, so it means that actually you could see that actually it's saying that actually that to unlock the Jenkins, you have to use some initial password, initial admin password. So let me do one thing, let me copy this whole thing like this, go to the server and just do a sudo cat of this file. and enter. So you got some initial password. So you can just copy paste this same thing over here and just do a next or continue. Right. So it says that you need to customize Jenkins. Either you can go with the install suggested plugin, or else you can go with the select plugin to install it. It means that you can manually go and select or deselect whatever you need, while installing plugins. Or else he said he will be giving some minimal list of plugins which need to be installed. So let me go with the install suggestion plugin itself. Later I can do whatever I want to install or uninstall. I can do it later. So I will go with the suggested installation plugin itself actually. So just click on this. So now you could see that it has started installing some of the few basic plugin. Can you see here something like Ant plugin is getting installed, Gradle is getting installed, Git is getting installed, LDAP is getting installed, Mailer is getting installed. Some of the few plugins are getting installed as part of installation, right? These are some basic plugins which are getting installed. So once you commit at the end, the final, it asks you to create some admin user. So here you have to create some admin user. So I'll give some name. I'll give admin itself as username. Admin. I'll give the password also as an admin. 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 Full name is admin something, and the email ID is admin@gmail.com. Something I'll give. So I'm creating a user with the name admin, and also the password also I'm giving admin. Save and continue. Right. So it says that the password just found in a data breach. Okay, Google. Okay, fine. You can say that. Now we say that the instance configuration. So this is the URL through which actually you can launch it. Okay, this is fine. This is the correct URL. So I will just say save and finish. So it says that your Jenkins is ready. Start using Jenkins. So click on that. Now you'll be able to see that your Jenkins has come up. So this is the front end, or this is nothing but the front end dashboard of your Jenkins actually. Right, whenever you install the Jenkins freshly, and when you log into the Jenkins, you could see that actually you're going to see this front end dashboard of the Jenkins, where you could see that actually there is something in the left side, something like a new item, build history, manage Jenkins, my views. There are some few options are here, right? We will see all these things later. And at the down, you could see that something like a build queue is there, which is empty now, and there is something like a build executor status. So right now it is showing that there are two executors are there, idle, something like 1 and 2 idle, right? So this is something like an executors. This is the build queue, which is currently empty, and these are some of the few menu options it is showing it. Right. So here in the right side, you could see there's a logout button is there. If you try to highlight or if you try to expand this admin, here it provides you that there are certain things like build, configure, my view, and credentials are there. We will see later all these things, what exactly is all about. This is basically certain things which you can configure as an admin user. So here what happened, admin is a super user. He is a super user. He is like a root user. So usually what happened when you log in, when you join to any company, you will not be given an admin access. What you will do that you will be given some kind of a user, some other normal user will be given, and some kind of a permission is given for you. So it means that with your user account, you can log into the Jenkins server. But because you are a DevOps engineer, when you join the DevOps team in the company, and that particular team is managing the whole Jenkins server, so maybe even you might be provided the root access. So you might be given an admin user access would be given to you, where you can log in and you can do it. Suppose, for example, when you work as a DevOps engineer, right? There are many teams will be there, like developer team, testing team, load and performance team. They want the access of the Jenkins server because they want to create a job, or they want to create a project, and they want to run the pipeline. They want to build and run the pipeline. They want to do many operations. So what they'll do that they'll try to connect to the DevOps engineer team, and they'll say that, hey, please create a user account to me. So what we do that, since we have the admin access, right, we can go and we can create a user account with the username and the password, and we can provide what kind of a permissions we need to allow for that particular user. So we will follow some procedure for it, and then we will create a users for that. So that is nothing but the user management. So that part and all we'll be seeing in some time later, not now. After 3-4 sessions, we will be seeing about the user management, how to create a user account, how to manage it. So that is also one of the job of the Jenkins administrator. or the DevOps engineer, that you need to manage all the users. You need to provide various different permissions for a particular project or particular like folders and all. You need to provide a permission. You need to even create a dashboards. You need to do a lot of user management. You have to perform tasks. So you will be getting to know about that later, right? So now what is happening that, guys, this is what your Jenkins is up and running. So we will be seeing in some time like what exactly Jenkins is all about in some time, but this is what in a single standalone server, in one single standalone machine, we have installed the Jenkins. So it's pretty simple. So what I would request that actually, at least for 1 or 2 days, what you do that once you work, you try to terminate that server. And the next day when you try to practice, again, you try to install the Jenkins so that you will get some hands-on on installing the Jenkins. All right, that's what. So you can do 1 or 2 times. Suppose you have started writing a lot of pipelines and you say that, okay, Raj, I don't want to waste that 5 or 10 minutes of my time. Then you do one thing, then you stop the instances. And the next day, once you log in, you can start that instance and you can start working on it. Suppose if you're using T.Micro, then it is okay. So don't use the T.Medium and try to stop it and try to make it, because it will keep charging, right? Per hour it will keep charging, right? So you don't do that. Once you are using T.Micro only, once it runs a free trial, then only what happens, you have to stop that instance and you can, you can start it next day tomorrow. But better, I would suggest that actually, why you have to keep it like that? You can just, you can just try to uh, terminate it and then try to recreate again tomorrow. That's the best way actually, right? And what are the jobs you have written something somewhere? You take it a backup of that, and then like tomorrow when you want to continue from the way from the same job where you can just paste over there. How to do that also I will tell after some time, right? So this is all fine so far, so good, right? Now what I'm going to do that I'm going to do the same thing to Docker actually. So let me log into the Docker. So I'll just let me do one thing. Let me log out from this, right? And I'll do one thing. I'll just log into this server. Go over here, putty. I will just paste the IP address, appearances. I'll just try to change SSH auth credential browse Jenkins.ppk file and then say open. So this is I'm doing with the Docker, guys. I have to log in as Ubuntu, right? So let me do one thing. For doing all this operation, let me switch to the root user, right? Even I can do as a normal Ubuntu user only, but let me switch to the root user, right? So you have to run a command sudo apt update. So I will run all the commands, guys. Then later what I will do that I will copy paste the same steps by executing history command. I will do that. I will just show you all the steps what I'm doing now. Okay, so once you do it, now you need to install a Docker here. So to install a Docker, it is very simple. You can go to the Google and just say something like to install it in a very faster way, get script Docker, get script, or else get, what is it? Get script. What one I myself forgotten actually. Get docker.sh, right? Get-docker.sh. Yeah, this is what it is. Let us see. Or if there's a website is a get.docker.com. No, not this one. Get.docker.com. I think this is a site, if I remember. This is a website where you will get that step actually. Yeah, this is what I need. So if you see here, can you see here? He's saying something like you can download the installer with the help of a curl command, and then like you can run it actually. You can run with the sh-docker.sh, right? This is what he's saying actually. So let me do one thing. Let me try to copy it actually. I'll try to copy this line and then like paste over here. Right, it'll try to download the install-docker, right? And then like I will go and I will try to run this script actually. So what this does, this is going to do, it's going to install the latest Docker version in your system actually. Let's wait. So once the Docker is installed, you can verify the Docker is up and running. So I could see that actually it installed the Docker C, CLI, container.io, container.io, Docker Compose plugin. So it is installing the whole Docker. So Docker installation is completed. So to check whether the Docker is up and running, you can run a systemctl status, what is it, docker.service. So you could see that your Docker is up and running. Or else what you can do that to verify it, you can just run a docker info command. If this command get executed, it means that your Docker is up and running, right? So this is how you just verify whether the Docker is up or not, right? Now, guys, what we are going to do that we are going to create a Docker container. So you need a image actually, Jenkins image actually. So to do that, what you have to do that you can log into your Docker Hub actually, Docker Hub. So hub.docker.com. So this is your nothing but your public repository where you keep all your Docker images, right? So you need to have a credentials here. So what I would suggest you that you can go to the hub.docker.com and you can just sign in, or you can sign up and you can create an account if you don't have. So in my case, I have an account. So let me sign into my account. So this is my email ID. Why it is so slow, man? So I have given the password. Let me continue. So you have to give a username and the password. Now you could see that actually you have logged into your hub.docker.com. Here what happened, you can just search for your Jenkins like this and say enter. Now you could see that actually he's saying that this is the official Jenkins, but this has been deprecated. So he's saying use the Jenkins/Jenkins :LTS instead. So Jenkins/Jenkins, this is what the image, what he's saying about. If you click on this, he said that this is the image name you have to use. This is the image you have to use it. To do or to run the image, you need to first do a Docker pull command. So you have to pull that image. You need to download this image. So you need to run this command, Docker pull Jenkins/Jenkins, right? So this is what he says actually, which you have to do it. So now what I will do that, okay, I can do one thing. I need not to do it. Actually, I can just run it directly. I can run a command. So how to run a command? You have to run a command Docker container run -it means interactive terminal, and we say D means detached, right? And I will be using a port mapping -p 8081 colon 8080, and then I will give the image name. So Jenkins/Jenkins, and you will take the latest Jenkins image, whatever is there in the hub.docker. Now you could see that it is download the Jenkins and it is trying to run a container. So here what you are doing, guys, you are running a container where the Jenkins image is image is running actually. So now you could see that Docker container is running. So how to check it? Docker container ls. So now you could see that actually your Jenkins image is up and running. This is the image and this is the container ID. It is up and running. And here you could see that you have used the port map, right? 8080 to 8080 port map, right? You did a port mapping also. Right now, what you're going to do that you say that okay, Rajesh, Jenkins is up and running. So I have used it. So let me do one thing. Let me go over to my EC2 instance. Let me copy this public IP of your Docker server. And here what I will do that I'll just paste that and I will give the colon 8081 port number because you have used the port mapping, right? 8080 colon to 8080. So now you could see that the Jenkins is now loaded. So here also the same stuff, guys, because it will to unlock it, it is asking you to give this password. But this password, what is happening that this password is not it is as part of your image, right? It means that basically you have to log into this Docker, right? You have to log into or you have to log into this container, then only you can get that password. To do that, what you have to do that you have to just say Docker container exec -it. Okay, and you have to give the container ID. What is the container ID here? This is the container ID, and then we have to give the, I think, yeah, 25, right? Not, yeah, I have to give /bin/bash. So you got inside your container, right? When you do a Docker exec means you are executing, means you want to get inside this container, and you have to get the shell that is numbered bin bash, right? So you got it. Now what you do that you are going to go over here and just copy this. So I'll copy this, go over here and just do a cat of this. Enter. So we got this initial password, admin password. Copy that, go to here and just try to paste it and just do a continue. The rest is same thing, guys. Nothing change here, right? You have to customize, go with install Jenkins plugin. So it is installing it. I think I missed to show one thing. Yes, any questions? Babbar?
Sir, yes. Sir, we have installed these plugins. So these plugins install inside container or a outside container?
No, these are part of your running. See, what you're installing is you're installing a plugin. Plugin is
Yeah,
something like a software. So
yeah,
where
that's
you're installing on the Jenkins itself, actually. Jenkins will maintain all those plugins. So it'll be a part of your image itself, the container in which the Jenkins image is running, right? There itself you're installing it.
okay. Then this container size will be increased.
Definitely, that's what. Now, definitely, what I'm doing that I'm just showcasing how you can actually create with the help of a Docker, how you can have a Jenkins running as a container, and then you can work on it. Suppose if you want to really work on in the real time and you want to really work on Jenkins and you are using Docker, then your server size should be very large actually, right?
Okay, in real time,
Hmm.
people are using container for Jenkins or they are
Yes,
installing.
yes. Yeah, they are using anything, sir. They are using either container or they are using even on the standalone also. Because what happened, right? Because in the real time, what happened, you will come up with something like a distributed systems actually. So Jenkins works under the distributed system model actually. In that case, what happened, better to go with the physical server. It means that you will go with the virtual machine, install the Jenkins, and you will have a multi-node Jenkins, and you will have that kind of a setup. Say
Okay,
for example, like you in your team, assume that my team, I only for example, developer team is there. Developer team, what they have to do that they want to do all kind of a testing. They want to do integration. They want to run the unit test. They want to do integration test. They want to do locally do for their own team itself. Then instead of installing a standalone, they will go with this Docker container. See, for
okay,
example, they want to do the build. They need a Maven build tool. So Maven also, what they can do, they can run as a container. Tomorrow they need any other tool. Say, for example, they need an Ansible. So they can even run as an Ansible in a Docker as a container. They need a Kubernetes. They can run onto the Kubernetes. They can run on a container. So they can, instead of having it physically installed and managed, right, they will run as a container.
okay.
Yeah.
For testing purpose.
Yeah, not only testing. Sometime like in many other organizations, they are using even their Jenkins and all their build servers. Everything is running as a part of container only. And it's not one container, there'll be multi containers actually will be running. So that is also possible, right? Because if they want to manage all this build, deployment, everything through container only, then they'll be using the container. They'll be launching everything through container. It depends upon them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So here the same thing, guys. I'll give the admin admin full name is admin@gmail.com, right? See, and then save and continue. And then save and finish. Start your Jenkins. So here, now I'm running a Jenkins as a part of the Docker container, right? Yes. Mahesh sir, I think your audio is very low. Now, what I was trying to tell that, see, this Jenkins, whatever I'm running, right? This Jenkins I'm running as a part of a Docker container. You could see that the version of the Jenkins, what you got is 2.4.78. 2.4 is a version, 2.4.78. 2.478, right? And the same thing, if I am running through this, actually, this is nothing but a standalone, right? Let me log in as an admin. That's the username, and the password is also admin. And let me log in. You could see that actually, what is the version? 2.4.62. whereas this one is 2.4.68, right? So this is having a latest version actually, whatever we are running. This is having something 2.47 actually. So whatever you're running as part of a container, that is the latest Jenkins what you are having actually, right? So whereas in a standalone, even though you install the latest step, you are, I mean, almost you're getting the same version only, right? But still you could see that. Now the thing is that what exactly, see, if you go to this server and if you exit out from this container and then like you just run a command docker container or docker let's say ps. So this is the one container running right Jenkins. Suppose if I run a command docker stats and then specify this container ID. So what you're trying to do that you're trying to check the statistical information about like how much is the CPU or the memory which has been utilized by your Jenkins container. You could see that in you are having a RAM of 957 memory, out of which 435 is being used by that particular container. Only with the help of a 400 MB, you're able to launch a Jenkins. And it is using a very less CPU. Can you see here? So what happened, right? Usually Jenkins is a beast. It needs more memory. It needs more computing power. It needs, if you're giving 4 GB of CPU, it utilizes all the 4 CPU, 4 virtual CPU. Even if you give like 2 GB or 4 GB of RAM memory, it almost consumes most of the memory. So it is like a beast, as I said earlier, right? It's a beast. It needs a lot of memory and a lot of computing power it needs actually. But see, in case of when it comes to the container, see how it is, right? How it works within the limited memory, right? That is the beauty of the Docker actually. So Docker somehow it makes sure that whatever the tool or the application which it requires more and more resource, somehow they have made in such a way that it works under the limited resources, like limited memory and limited CPU, right? It works happily. So that's the reason what happened, why companies are going with the container technology, because that whatever the resource it was supposed to require, right? It can even work or it can run even less than that. Right? Do you agree with this? So now what I will do that, guys, I'm going to stop it. Docker container ls, right? I'll do one thing. I'll just, yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, good.
We have used a Jenkins image where already Jenkins is installed, right?
Yes, there are two ways I've shown. One is in a standalone Jenkins, so other is through a Docker container.
Okay.
So what I'll be doing under Docker container, I just showed you how in the Docker container you can do that. So what I'll be doing, I'll be destroying this server, and I will now no longer will be using the Docker server. I'll be only focusing on the Jenkins server itself.
For manual install, for installing manually on the Docker container, we need to create a compose file, right? Or Docker
You can
file.
create a compose file, or else you can just run a Docker container, right? This is the command, right? You have to just run this command. So let me execute the history command. If you execute history command, you saw, right? So I have to install the Docker and all. And finally, what happened? You are running this Docker container run --p 8081. This is the command you have to run your Docker, to run the Jenkins
Docker.
container.
Okay.
And then like you can log inside that container with the help of exit command. Right. So this is all the command which I want to show. If you want to follow installing Jenkins through your Docker, yeah, then you need to follow the steps.
Okay, if we want to achieve, manual installation in a Docker container, we can achieve it from the Docker file, right?
Yes, Docker file. Yeah, right. See what happened, right? Docker file is something like what happened, right? Whatever you do, yeah. Suppose, for example, you want to create a Docker, you want to like you want to create a image out of it, and you want to do further other things. Then you write a Docker file. But here, what happened? I need a plain Jenkins to be running, right? So I have an image already.
Yes.
You have a ready-made image there, so you're using that image to run as a container. That's all.
Yes,
And
yes,
later, what
I
happened?
understood that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Fine. So what I will be doing, I will be killing that. You can destroy it. You can just say Docker container ls. What is it? Docker kill, and then provide the container name ID. Right. You're killing the Docker. Now you see Docker container ls. Nothing is happening. Right. So I don't want to really keep this server. Let me go and let me destroy or let me terminate this instance, right? Now? Yeah. Mahesh sir, your voice is too low. I'm not able to hear it. If you have any questions, can you type it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, now its voice is clear, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to say you don't have to get into the Jenkins container to retrieve the password.
Huh. Fine. Okay. Yeah.
You don't need to enter the container to retrieve the initial password.
That's okay, sir. We have to show that command, right? Exact command. Right? That's what I showed you.
Okay, because you can just run Docker logs and
Yeah, Docker log or yeah.
it'll
Or
be
else you
there
can
in
even,
the.
yeah, correct. Right. Okay. So now. Yeah. Right. So now what else is required, guys? Now the thing is that actually, do I have to really write all the documentation for this? Not required, right? You can go to this video, right? Now, good, fair enough. So we have some more time, guys. So shall we continue for some time or we'll stop it? Because today we only saw the installation, that's all. It's a 10:30 now.
Continue.
We'll continue for 15 minutes more, 15-20 minutes more. Okay, thank you. Now, so now what happened, as I said, right, once you install the Jenkins, basically what happened, right, you will get a default user by name Jenkins. A user with the name Jenkins will get created actually. Now, for example, guys, if you log into your Jenkins, this is my Jenkins server. If I do the who am I command, you see here a user by name Ubuntu has been, no, it will show that you are logged in as a Ubuntu user, right? Now, if you want to check which are all the users which are there in a system, so you can just do a sudo cat of etc password file. Could see that these are all the users. So there are a lot of system users are there, right? These are all the system users. These are the system users. And if you come down, can you see somewhere known as a Ubuntu user? Yes, Ubuntu is a user. And you could see that the user ID is 1000, the group ID is 1000, and the home directory for your Ubuntu user is /home/Ubuntu. And the shell, what he gets is /bin/bash. So this is the one of the users, right? With if you're opening this file, etc password file, you're able to get that. Okay, there's a Ubuntu user is there. Now, if you see down here, can you see there's a user by name Jenkins? Yeah, Jenkins user. This is a user ID. This is a group ID, and this is a home directory for your Jenkins, right? So /var/lib/Jenkins is a home directory for your Jenkins. If anybody asks you what is /var/lib Jenkins, so you have to say that the /var/lib is a default home directory for Jenkins. It means that whenever the Jenkins want to store any data, right, the Jenkins always stores all the information or data or all its configuration file under this path actually, right? So Jenkins doesn't maintain any kind of a database here. Jenkins will maintain all the files, configuration file, entire information about the Jenkins under /var/lib Jenkins. If tomorrow, suppose somebody say that, okay, how you have to take a backup or what are the things you have to take a backup? If you want to take a backup of your whole Jenkins server, you say that please take a backup of this whole /var/lib Jenkins. So if we are taking this backup, it means that you are taking the whole backup of your whole Jenkins server itself, right? So this is the default home directory we set. Is it fine, guys? That's a home directory, right? So what we say that post installation of Jenkins, we get Jenkins as a user and the info about it can we can get it from sudo cat of etc password, right? right? And let me paste this whole line so that you'll get some information. Is it fine? Now the thing is that, guys, suppose for example, whenever I want to do any kind of a operation being a Ubuntu user, say for example, I want to run a sudo apt update. What I will do, I'll just say sudo apt update. You could see that this command is successfully getting executed. Similarly, you say that, Rajesh, I want to install some package. Say for example, I want to install the Apache package. So what I'll do, I'll just say sudo apt install Apache 2-y. And you could see that the package Apache 2 is getting installed in your system. So how you are able to install any kind of a package, or you are able to execute any of the commands, because Ubuntu is a sudo user. Ubuntu is a sudo user. And the home directory for the Ubuntu, what is it? If I execute the pwd, you could see that it's a /home/Ubuntu. Right. Now what I'll do that, let me switch to the root user, sudo su-root, right? And let me switch to the Jenkins user. So if you do a sudo su-Jenkins, you could see that you are landing onto the Jenkins user, right? If I execute the pwd, you could see that it is landing into the /var lib Jenkins, right? So from the Ubuntu, I switch to the root user, and from the root user, what I'm doing, I'm switching to the Jenkins user, because I know that there's a Jenkins user is there which got created. Let me switch to the Jenkins and let me check where exactly, no, under which path I will be logging in. So you could see that /var lib Jenkins. Oh, this is a home directory for the Jenkins user, right? Correct, guys? Now, if I execute who am I, you know very well that it will give you the name, it will give the Jenkins as a user. It means that you have logged in as a Jenkins now, right? Now you say that, Rajesh, I want to install certain package. Let me check whether I'm able to run any command. Sudo apt update. If I run a sudo apt update, it is asking for the password. So right now I don't know what exactly the Jenkins password is, because I have not yet set. Later I can even set it also. It means that it is asking for me to give some password. So I don't know the password. It means that I cannot execute this command at all. So I have to do Control-C, right? Similarly, if you try to install any package, sudo apt install something tree-y. I'm installing the tree package. Sudo apt install it again. It is prompting for you to give the Jenkins password, the Jenkins user's password, right? It is asking, which I don't know, right? So I'll not be able to run this command. It means that as a Jenkins user, it cannot run some of the commands, right? It cannot run some of the commands. Now, guys, what we will do now, so let me do a Control-C. Now, what I will do now, let me even exit out from the Ubuntu or from here, and even let me exit out from the root also. So what I will do now, just carefully watch what I'm doing that. I will go to my Jenkins here. This is my Jenkins dashboard. Can you see here something was a new item? So right now, just watch what I'm doing. Tomorrow we will continue many other things, we'll understand it. But let me see that whenever you want to create any project, assume that you want to create a new project, you want to create some project in Jenkins, always have to go with a new item. So click on this new item. Now you could see that actually it is saying that, okay, you have to give them some project name here, right? And then there are something known as a freestyle is there. There is something as a pipeline. There is something known as a multi-branch pipeline. There's something like a folder, organization folder. There are many other menus are there, or different types are there, right? So whenever you are working under the Jenkins, basically there are three types of you can create the project actually. One is a freestyle project, and other is nothing but your pipeline. We call it declarative pipeline project, and the third is nothing but your multi-branch pipeline. These are the three different types of projects you can build on Jenkins actually. So guys, I'll not be writing any notes now. I'll be writing a notes tomorrow. Okay. So, but let me show you certain things, right? So whenever you want to create a project, always you have to go with the new item, right? Click on the new item. It will take you to this page where you need to give the name. So let me give some name. Let me give something like hello Jenkins, something. Hello Jenkins. I'm giving some name, or else my first project, anything can give. And let me select a freestyle project. Click on this and come over here and then say okay. Click on this and say okay. Now you could see that actually it has opened some kind of a configuration file, or it has opened the configuration menu, where you could see that under the configuration, you have something as a general, source code management, build triggers, build environment, build steps, and post build actions. These are certain menus which comes as a part of your configuration. So what are this each and everything we are going to learn in our next session. But right now you understand, okay, whenever you are creating a free shell project, and whenever you go under whenever you open the project, when you're creating a project actually, then it is going to show you some menu, right? So I'll go to the journal, it will take you to the journal sections. What is it? We'll see tomorrow. If you go to source code management, you could see it takes you source code management. Build trigger, it takes you build trigger. Build environment, it take it here. You have a build step here. Right, you have build step. So right now I'm concentrating on the build step. What I will do that I will go over here and I'll just expand this. You could see that it says that execute Windows batch command, execute shell, invoke Gradle script, invoke top level Maven target. It is showing you all these menus. So what I will do that actually I will go with and I will just choose the execute shell. I'm going to choose the execute shell. Why? Because I have created the Jenkins into the Ubuntu Linux. In the Linux itself, Linux has a bash shell. So what I'm doing that I'm saying that whatever the job which I'm invoking it, let it get executed by the default bash shell itself. Right. So I'm just trying to select the execute the bash. Here what I will do, I'll just give one command. Who am I? That's all. Right, and any other thing is required, no other things, just only you go to the build step. Under that you have to just select the execute shell, just give one small command and then do a apply and then say save it. So now you could see that if you save it, you could see that you created a project by name Hello Jenkins. So tomorrow we're going to discuss about what exactly is a project is or a job is all about, right? Usually what happened in Jenkins, we use some terminologies like project, job, workspace, like this. These are the terminologies we'll come across. Tomorrow I'm going to discuss about in detail about all these different terminologies what we use in Jenkins. But right now, just see what I'm doing it, right? So I created a new project, the name Hello Jenkins, right? Now what happened, right? I have already created, I have already configured it. If you want to revisit again, you can go and you can click on the configure. See, click on the configure, come over here. You can go here and you can view whatever the job which you have set it. So under the execute shell, who am I is the only one command which you have created, and you have to just say apply, and finally you have to say save. So once the job is created or the project is created, you need to run that project. To run that project, there is something like a build now is there, right? You have to click on it. So if you click on it, you could see that actually under the build history, it has run one job, right? And you could see that this #1 is a job ID, and this this green color what is showing, it is like a success actually. It means that this has been passed actually, and this is the time, right? Timestamp when the job was executed. So you can even click on this job, can click on this job, or you can directly click on the job, and you could see that it was started by the admin user, and what was the timestamp when the job was executed, and it was run by the admin user, and it took 33 milliseconds to run it. Something it has given some details, right? And then if you want to see the console output or the output of it, you can go with the console output. Just click on the console output. So if you click on it, you'll be able to see the logs actually. So you could see here that, so it has been run as a system user. Under that, what I have executed a command by name who am I. Can you see here? It is showing as a Jenkins user. So it means that guys, whatever the job which you are executing in the Jenkins, that will get executed by a default user by name Jenkins. So Jenkins is a user who actually executes any kind of a build job. So what are the job you try to create? Let it be a free shell project, let it be a like a multi branch pipeline, or let it be declarative pipeline. Anything in the future, whatever you try to create a job or you create a project actually, that has to get executed by a default user by name Jenkins. Is it clear till here? Right? So there are many other things are there, something like a workspace. Can you see workspace? And it is creating workspace under /var/lib Jenkins. Under that, there's a folder by name workspace created. Under that, whatever the project which you created, hello-Jenkins, right? With that, it has created some folder name. So what is this all about? We are going to discuss it in tomorrow's session. Right? So you could see that a Jenkins user by name Jenkins is the one who has executed this job. Actually. Right? So if you go over here and you know that Rajesh, I want to switch to the root user, and if you do an su-Jenkins, yeah, right. Now you could see that if I log in as a Jenkins, here if I'm executing command, who am I? Right, it is showing you Jenkins. The same command, whatever is there, right? I'm running that same command as a job here or as a project here under the hello Jenkins, under the configure, the same command, whatever you're executing, I am executing over here. Say, for example, if you are executing one more something like anything, like for example, in this server, is .NET is installed, I'll just say .NET-FN version. The enter. .NET command not found. It says that you have to install with the help of this command. He's giving this. Can I run the same command now and let's see what happens? Yeah, go over here. Just go here and just try to replace with .NET-FN version. Right? This is the command, right? The same command, and let me apply and let me save it actually. Now again, build a job. So this time what happened, right? In the configuration, you have edited, you have given some other command. What is that? .NET version, and let us see whether it works or not. Right? So I have to go and I have to just again trigger the build now. Now you could see that it has triggered a next job, that is nothing but the job 2. But this time you could see that it is showing the red color. It has failed actually. Right? It has failed. Click on this, go to the console output, and you could see that actually when it is trying to execute the .NET version, it is saying that command not found. Not found. It means that the build job has failed. Why? Because that here what happened, your Jenkins user, it cannot run this command. It cannot execute this command. That's the reason what happened, right? It doesn't have the permission to execute this command. That's the reason what happened. It is getting failed actually. If you execute the pwd command, can you see here? It is showing that /var/lib Jenkins. Yeah, I can even do that also. Go here. Go to your hello Jenkins. Right? Go to the configure. So you know that, right? Like for example, if I execute the who am I, same command, and let me run. Okay, let me run one more command, pwd, and let me run one more command. What is it? Suppose, for example, I want to check all kind of environment variables. There is a command is a print env. If you execute the print env, it will show you all the environment variables. Can I run the same command? Yes, I'll run the same command. See, print env, and say apply, save it. Go here again. Try to run the build now. So now you could see that this time it has passed actually. You can directly click on that arrow mark also to get into the console output. Click on this. Can you see here? Who am I command? It is showing as a Jenkins. So it means the Jenkins is a user who has logged in, who's executing this whole project. What about the pwd? Okay, it is showing you the pwd/var/lib Jenkins workspace. Hello. Okay, under this path, it is actually executing that job. And you could see that if you executing print env, you could see that these are all the variables. These are environment variables. But if you see it actually, here I executed, if I execute here, it is showing me some less variables. Whereas when I'm executing as a part of the Jenkins job, actually it is showing me more. Can you see here something like a Hudson URL is there, user is a Jenkins home is /var/lib Jenkins. So what it is doing that when I'm trying to execute as a part of Jenkins itself is inserting many other variables actually as part of it. Apart from this, whatever we have the variables, many other variables are being inserted by the Jenkins itself. So that's the reason you are seeing some extra variables also here. You could see that these variables, this variable, see, there are many variables are there, right? Correct, guys? Now, what we're going to do, what we're going to see tomorrow, we are going to understand in tomorrow's session that how exactly the Jenkins works, like this Jenkins user work, right? Suppose I want to do some other jobs. Say, for example, I want to install some software. right? I want to install some software. Say I want to install the Apache, I want to install the PHP. Right now, the Jenkins user, which is the default user, which actually executes the job, it is not doing it. But how to make it work? How I can make sure that I can execute any kind of a task as part of writing a job, right? Where the Jenkins can do it actually. This we will be learning. And also what happened, we'll be learning about what are the Jenkins configuration file. So tomorrow session will be going one more level deep into this Jenkins user, right? What it going to do, it can do, how we have to do some other few configuration changes so that the Jenkins starts doing all other job, right? All jobs it can execute. So what are the changes it has to do? That we're going to do it, and we're going to see it like how what are the different Jenkins configuration files we have, and finally we'll be building a small mini projects, small projects. Say for example, I have a Java application. You need to you need to download the Java from our GitHub repository and try to compile it and try to run it and try to build out of it and create a package out of it actually. So how to do that? A small few things we are going to learn it in a tomorrow's session. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any questions you have so far?
No.
Milan, any questions you have? So now you understood that actually whatever we run the job here as part of in the console or in the UI, below, it means in the below in Linux actually, Jenkins is a user actually who is actually performing all the operation. Right? If the Jenkins doesn't have an access, say for example, you want to run something like a Python, I want to check the Python version. It is a command not found. So if you're running this command as part of the Jenkins job, do you think that it will get executed? No, it will fail because Jenkins itself in the command line, it is not able to execute it. Right? So in the job, obviously it will get failed. So how to make sure how exactly Jenkins can execute any kind of a job, everything? Yeah, we're going to see tomorrow how to do that. And what are the things in turn this Jenkins does? How exactly the Jenkins user works, right? That and all we're going to see tomorrow. Is it clear?
So all the commands are executing through Jenkins user, right?
Yes, anything, sir, anything. Say, for example, tomorrow you say that, Rajesh, through my Jenkins, okay, I want to call a Terraform file or I want to execute some Terraform. So you need to have a Terraform software to be installed in your system, and where this Jenkins user should have an access to run the Terraform file. It should have all kind of a permission access, then it can run it. Tomorrow you say that, Rajesh, I have this Jenkins server, and this Jenkins server I need to configure with Ansible server, where Ansible playbook has to be invoked actually. So who's going to finally invoke that? Your Jenkins user has to do it actually. So you need to install the Ansible software, everything in this server, or else you need to have a node where the Ansible installed. This Jenkins should have all kind of a permission where it can go and it can invoke or it can call that Ansible playbook file.
Okay, means suppose if we want to execute admin level task, then we need to add this user in a sudo.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, right. Tomorrow I say that, Rajesh, I want to launch a rocket through the Jenkins only. How to do that? So this Jenkins should have all kind of a permission where it hits the button. It has a permission to hit the button where by hitting the button, the rocket will be launched. Same thing, if you say, Rajesh, I want to build a job through the Jenkins where by executing that Jenkins job, right, it has to place a satellite in the space. Yes, no problem. We can do. Jenkins can do it. So whatever you give an inputs to the Jenkins has to do it actually, right? That's what we call as a Jenkins as a scheduler. Means whatever the job you give to it, it has to happily execute it. For that, what in the below what is happening? Jenkins user will be executing all those jobs, and that should have a permission. And for doing the permission, as we an admin, we need to do all kind of a setup we have to do so that the Jenkins can happily this Jenkins user can happily execute any kind of a task, whatever you provide to it. Right. Say, for example, somebody says that, Rajesh, like actually, we have heard about something like a plugin. If you install the plugin, everything will work. Man, plugin is something, guys, where it'll provide you a lot of options for the GUI. That as a UI base, you need many features. Means easily user want to play around with. You will install the plugin, but installing a plugin itself will not solve the problem. At the very below, this Jenkins user should have the permission to execute it. Tomorrow you say that actually, Rajesh, what happened is I have a Git server, Git remote server, my Jenkins has to download from the GitHub repository and it has to download it. Yeah, that's fine. You said that, okay, you install the Jenkins, you install the Git plugin. So only install the Git plugin will not suffice, man. This Jenkins user should have a permission where it can call that Git actually. If it can execute any kind of a Git command, say for example, Git clone, right? Git pull, Git push. If the Jenkins user can execute those commands, then what happened? What are the job you write? It will work. If this doesn't have the permission, if it cannot execute the Git pull or Git command, even after installing the Git plugin, what is the use? There is no use of it actually. So after post installation of the plugin, you need to make sure that your Jenkins user can execute any kind of a task, right? And based on that, what you have to do that you have to provide all kind of a permission. You have to provide it so that the Jenkins can execute any kind of a task.
I have a question.
Yeah.
On the remote machine, Jenkins user also should be there, right?
No. What happened in the remote system? Why in the remote system? What happened? Right? You are having something like a GitHub. You are having account, right? You are having Git, right? So now what happened? You will integrate that node with your Jenkins master, so that what happened? Your Jenkins masters can execute any kind of a job in that node. It is not like the Jenkins user should be there in that server. No, not like that. It should have a permission so that it can go and it can execute any kind of a task onto that particular node. So this is what we'll be learning through the distributed node system, right? Where the Jenkins can do, can execute any task onto the remote server actually. Right? Okay, guys. So what we'll do, we'll stop it here. So tomorrow we are going to continue from here itself, and we'll be seeing like what exactly we'll be going one level deeper into this Jenkins, as well as what are the different Jenkins configuration file, and also we have to learn about how to build and package. What are the different ways of doing a build and package? How we have to learn about the basics about that, and then like we will be taking a small Java project or small Java code where we will be playing around with that by writing a pipeline. Particularly, we'll initially we'll try to go with a freestyle project, and we will try to create a freestyle job, and we're going to execute that. So tomorrow's class will also be very much interesting because we'll be learning many things, right? And then moving forward in our upcoming sessions, we'll be learning a lot. We'll be learning about the distributed systems and many other things. Like we'll be building a lot of Java-based project. We have to learn about the Maven build tool, right? How to write, how to configure Maven with your Jenkins, right? So many things are there to be learned actually. Okay, guys. Chalo, then we will stop it today and we will continue tomorrow same timing. Okay, so let me stop the recording.